Last episode this week, you beautiful people. And this one, maybe a bit of a controversial episode. We're talking about how to tell who is full of shit and who actually knows their shit, both online and in real life. So I'm curious to hear what you think about this, Scotty, because I don't know. For me, it's very intuition based. I can just kind of get a feel most of the time for like who's real and who's not. And I don't know if I can explain it all that well. I'm gonna try, but I'm really just dying at the fact that the second bullet on this is vibe check. Vibe check. All right.
That's
Well,
what
what's the
it
deal,
is.
Scotty? How do you tell if someone's full of shit or not?
It's like you said, it's intuition.
Yeah.
Intuition honed over years of being a human being and interacting with people who are some of them full of shit and some of them really honest and truthful. Obviously, it's tough when you're completely new in something. Like if I'm trying to learn about Amazon FBA, it's going to be harder for me to tell who's full of shit than if I'm trying to learn about dropshipping with Facebook ads. Because if one thing and it's not even the info, it's just you have more of a framework for how the business works. So when people say things that don't make sense, um, you can tell that their entire thing might be bullshit if they start saying things that don't make sense. Um,
Or if they do, dude, people just have this tendency to talk about things that they don't know anything about, and they try to act like they know what they're talking about. And I don't know why people just don't say, "Oh, I don't really know." I feel like I say that all the time. Like I'm just like, "Yeah, to be honest, man, I have no idea."
yeah,
Oh, like if no, that's another big sign. If someone is never like, "I don't know," they're probably full of shit.
yeah. My roommate has a really funny habit. He's kind of stopped doing this after I pointed this out to him, but he for years had this habit of always saying with full confidence what he thought. If there's like a discussion, like, okay, oh, when's this homework due? He would say with full fucking confidence, oh, it's this and this and this. Just that's it. End of story. No more discussion. You're like, oh, thanks, bro. And then it would turn out to be completely wrong, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, oh, I thought it was tomorrow. I'm like, okay. But he didn't have that filter of like, I think it's this, but I don't really know. He would just always say it with full confidence. And you have to like
I
figure this
love
out.
that.
That's that was like a quirk of his personality. Which now we laugh about. At the time is super
I
fucking
mean,
frustrating.
it sounds like that could be pretty dangerous if the stakes were a little bit higher than just the when the once the homework due.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, if you know this, you can like follow up. It's like, wait, slow down there. Do you know this to be true? Or is this like, I don't know, you know?
It's like you're
Um,
driving, and you're like, "Hey, man, is this a one way? Like, are we going the right way?" And he's like, "Yeah, absolutely, we're going the right way." And all of a sudden, you're heading 50 miles an hour straight into oncoming traffic.
yeah, that example is more fitting than you can even imagine, Schmitty.
Has that actually happened?
That has happened, yes.
No way. Oh, that's hilarious.
But anyway, back to sort of the what we're really talking about. With time, I feel like if you have some basic social skills, it's not that hard to tell. And
It's really not.
yeah, the whole thing of like, oh, it's so hard to tell who's real online and who isn't. It's really not.
It's a lot easier for us though because we know a lot of the people who people are looking at, and we've seen a lot more behind the scenes than they have. And we also do this kind of things ourselves. Do this kind of thing ourselves. So I don't know. It's definitely a lot easier for us than like the average person.
But even getting started, I was never like, oh, I thought this guy was a really nice, great guy. It turns out he's a fucking raging asshole. I'm like, like you can tell who's a fucking raging asshole. And then also, just because he's a raging asshole doesn't mean that he doesn't have good information. That's the other thing. Like someone being likable, someone being an honest person, someone being a scammer, someone can be a scammer and also at the same time have really good info. A lot of it is more nuanced and kind of jumping ahead in the outline, but people get really caught up, I think especially on Twitter, but also elsewhere in sort of groupthink, where you all sort of follow the herd, where this person was cool before, but now he's persona non grata. He's just hated by everyone because of whatever. And usually there's some semblance of fact there, but he was overly liked before and is now overly hated. And the truth, as usual, is somewhere in the middle. Like there's just so much more nuance that could go into this. And I think if you just don't fully buy into anyone's BS and also don't hate anyone fully, you're generally gonna be on the right track. Like just look at the information they put out. Does this make sense? Does this make sense with my own experiences? Can I use this immediately, test it, and see if it works? Those are some of the really good ways that you can start to get an idea of maybe who's a good person to be listening to and who isn't. I
Yeah.
just jumped all over the outline there, but I guess we just go with the flow.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few key signs, especially like in the context of online gurus and ecom guys and all that kind of stuff. It's so easy to tell. Like, I have a nice car, right? I got a BMW M3. It's not anything too crazy, but it's a nice car. How many times have you guys listening to this seen me flex my car?
Depends if they're in our YouTube retargeting audience or not.
Yeah, but even then, it's like I'm doing it jokingly. Like I'm literally making fun of people who do that.
Yeah, that's true.
If someone is constantly flexing with a car, not a great sign. Not a great sign. I'm not saying that they're a complete scammer, but and I'm kind of torn on this because like the flexing the car is an immediate unconscious sign to someone that you could be legit, that you could know what you're talking about. It's a receipt, like it's something that someone sees that you have a nice car, they just immediately would assume subconsciously that you're successful. And I mean, it does work like that. And I'm kind of hesitant. Like, I feel like I probably should flex with my car a little more, but it's so cringe to me. It's like my car's not even that expensive. Like, it's really, it's a nice car, but it's like, it's not worth, it's not worth getting freaked out about over. Um, that's a big one because I feel like people who have good information or who are actually talented at what they do don't really need to resort to that. Whereas people who don't, that's the easy one quick trick way to get people's attention, just by flexing. Another huge red flag: if you ever see an ad with a dude standing on the balcony of a house in the Hollywood Hills, it just run away. I mean, run away as fast as you can.
I mean, honestly, if they're from LA, they're probably fucking, yeah.
If they're from LA, also vibe check. You failed. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. There's like maybe 3 good people in LA. Like out of like the 30 million or however many are in LA County, there's like 3. What else? What else are some red flags?
I think you have to understand
People promising things that are just like ludicrous that you can't in any situation guarantee. Anyone guaranteeing you that you're going to make X amount of dollars in X amount of time, it's not, and there's nuance to that as well. But if you like, I feel like a lot of the situations where people get scammed is like when they're on the phone. They're getting closed by someone for a mentorship or a store automation or whatever the hell these people are selling. If they're guaranteeing that you're going to make a specific amount of money in a specific time frame, like run away. No one can guarantee you that you're going to make any specific amount of money doing anything. Like that's just insane.
That it is. Another one I've got here written down is you kind of have to understand some human biases. And this is probably a good thing in general in life, not just as it relates to telling who's full of shit and who isn't. Look up cognitive biases and just read about them. Just read about them, and then you'll start to see them in a lot of different places. I don't know the names of these biases, but there is definitely a bias where if you make a ton of predictions, you can always go back to the predictions that panned out and and basically say how you're a fucking genius and you saw it all coming, etc., etc. But just because you're constantly tweeting crazy shit, hat tip John McAfee, or McAfee. When he
RFK.
finally does die, obviously there was a fucking tweet about how they were going to kill him or whatever.
What do you mean when he
Um,
finally does die? Did you not see the news?
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
When he finally does die, obviously, um, there's going to be tweets of his that predicted whatever that people can then pick up or whatever.
He did say that if that he's happy, and if he gets suicided, it wasn't him.
Right, but didn't he say that like 2 years ago, and now everyone's talking about that tweet? Have you read through this in the context of all his other tweets and all the other stuff he said? But when it then happens, you're going to find the information that you want to find, and that's all you're going to see. And then on Twitter, people are going to screenshot it, and your entire feed's just going to be full with this one tweet, as if this was the last and the only thing he'd said in years, and he perfectly predicted or whatever. Just one of these things. You're going to see what you want to see, or people are going to see what they want to see. And also, if you just make a ton of predictions, you're going to be right eventually. And you only talk about the times you're right, and you don't retweet your old tweets when you were wrong. For example, if BTC doesn't hit 500K, you don't mention that, and you'll never have to eat your own dick.
Maybe that's why he killed himself.
Maybe that's why he killed himself. Someone finally got him in jail, said, it's time. It's time to eat your own dick. We once again got really off topic here. Yeah, I mean, this is a super common one with trading gurus, of course, like posting their predictions and then later saying "told you so." I follow some of these crypto guys, and they're drawing their fucking circles and their triangles.
Their fucking circles.
Yeah, and they're always right. That's
and...
the thing. If you read their feed, you'd think they're always right. So sometimes they say it's going to go up, sometimes they say it's going to go down, sometimes it's going to go sideways. I rarely see them say that they're going to be wrong, but they're always fucking right, but they can't actually predict anything. It's weird. Like, I don't know if they themselves think they predicted stuff right, but it's like if it goes up, they somehow find a way to twist their words into saying that they saw it coming or whatever. And if it goes down and you're a fucking ever bull, then you say it's an accumulation phase. You say buy the dip.
It's an accumulation phase.
Yeah,
that is a very fascinating side note there. Just the cognitive biases in the crypto market, absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, the crypto markets are a great place to study markets and human psychology. And if you're gonna follow crypto Twitter guys, the most interesting part about that is reading the comments, because it will literally be from like that one day where like if you read the comments like a day after everything drops, it's either like buy the dip, everyone's buying the dip, or people are like, no, this time's different. And it's people generally all agree. There'll be like one or two lone guys and like hundreds of comments that are like, I don't know, maybe I don't know if you guys are all right, but generally everyone agrees. And then a day later it can all flip again because it goes up 12% or whatever. Hilarious.
Well, that's definitely some of the main stuff, how you can tell who's full of shit. I think ultimately, like, the best thing, the only true way to find out if someone is full of shit or not is to take their free advice and implement it. Does it get you results? If it does, there's a good chance that they know what they're talking about. If it doesn't, it's not guaranteed. It's just because you implement something that someone said to do and it doesn't work. That doesn't mean that they're like a scammer or something. I think that's a good way to find out if someone is legit. It's not guaranteed that they are illegitimate if it doesn't work, but you can be somewhat more confident at least. It's not a guarantee, but I think that's probably the best way. Testing out the info.
The reverse also isn't true though. Like, I think fitness is the most obvious example of this. People who just give the worst fucking fitness advice that is just ass backwards. If you go from being a couch potato to applying the most absolutely retarded fitness advice and diet, you're going to get great results just because you're doing something. And at that point, I mean, it's hard. It's like following this horrible advice was better than doing nothing. So does it even matter that it's horrible advice if you have improved your life? Maybe not. Maybe it's a good thing. maybe it's a good thing. On the flip side, it's like you're gonna have to get past that at some point. You're gonna have to find better information at some point if you do stall or whatever. But it's like if listening to this advice benefited your life, that's something. That's something you don't want to discredit, whether it's technically true or accurate or the most optimal way of doing it. I guess that's to be determined later. But if it gets you some sort of a benefit, that's at least a start.
Yeah. You know what? On this topic, one thing that I'm not sure if I like this or not. You know Dan Lok, the Asian dude.
Is that the Twitter guy or is that the big guy, the sales coach Dan Lok?
Yeah, sales coach Dan Lok.
Okay.
He's been on, Baller Busters shits on him all the time,
Yeah.
saying that he's a scammer and stuff. And maybe he is, but I haven't seen any actual evidence that he's done anything unethical or wrong, or that he's full of shit or anything. Like, he goes hard as fuck marketing his info, but I haven't seen any sign that he's like, that he's full of shit.
Yeah, I mean, one of the concerns with him, I believe, as I understand it, is his thing is like you should become a high ticket closer, and then in his program, I think he recommends becoming a high ticket closer for him.
Mm-hmm.
So there's kind of that pyramid scheme esque marketing in there. But yeah, that's the thing. Like aggressive marketing, and aggressive marketing does not mean you're a scammer. Now that might be off-putting to you, and if that's off-putting to you, then don't buy from him. But that doesn't necessarily make him a bad person or whatever.
Yeah.
I always said and still believe that the product that you have is more important than how you market it. For example, if we think about the good old days with Tai Lopez, his ads were like maximally scammy. Like it was Lamborghinis and but the most important thing is not the Lambo, it's the fucking books. It's the books behind me.
Knowledge.
It's the maximally scammy type ads that everyone hates. But realistically, as much as I like to think of myself as a down to earth, non flex type of guy, Tai Lopez has done way more for people than I ever will. So then the question is, does that justify the marketing? I think it does as a whole. Like, I wouldn't say he's an unethical person because of his marketing tactics. I wouldn't want to use his marketing tactics, but that's my decision. That doesn't make him a unethical business person. I always thought you have to represent your product honestly in terms of what's in it and what it can do for people. And if you do that, all else is kind of, if not irrelevant, it's, I think, ethically justified as long as you honestly represent what it is and what it can and can't do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. And I mean, I think once you reach a certain level in the the industry of being a guru, everyone's going to say you're a scammer, regardless of what you're putting out, of how good your products are. Like, you reach a certain level of scale, and you're just the people who are seeing your ads and what you're putting out are just so far from the market, I guess, like the typical market for stuff like that, that they're going to see anything. Anyone claiming that they can sell you something that's going to help you make more money, everyone's just going to see that and immediately say that that's a scam, and they're going to have absolutely no reason, no actual evidence or reason to say that, but they're just going to say that because they think everyone who is doing that is a scam artist, and that's just how it goes. So I think that's another key thing is, like, don't take at face value the comment section on an ad, especially if someone is like very very big, like Tai Lopez, even Sam Ovens. Like, the first thing I remember a while back, I don't know if this is the same. Actually, let's check this out. Let's check this on Google.
Are you gonna type in his name and the first thing that comes up is scam?
No, okay, that's not the first thing. The first thing that comes up is net worth.
But a lot of times it is scam. That's the thing.
A lot of times it is scam. So I mean, from everything that I know, Sam Ovens is probably the most ethical, highest quality products, like, of anyone at that level marketing information, and he's still got people calling him a scam. So,
but this is the thing where it's like, well, for one, people are optimizing for that keyword and putting that in their YouTube video to get views. But also, it can just be off-putting that the high price tag. But like charging high prices does not make you a scam. Like a Rolex is not a scam. Dude, people always used to say how Beats are a scam. That was like a common thing growing up here. I don't know if you have the same in the States, but everyone's like, oh, Beats are shitty, Beats are a scam. I'm like, no, they're definitely maybe more expensive than they could or might be if they didn't have the logo. But these Beats are a hell of a lot better than your shitty ass Apple came with the iPhone headphones. So that was always amusing to me. Like high price equals scam. Like, no, if you don't want to pay for that, you don't have to pay for that. But doesn't make it a scam or a bad product or anything else.
Yeah. As always, use your actual critical thinking skills and don't just rely on what random low IQ people are chirping.
Use your noggin.
Say again?
Use your noggin.
Use that noggin. Use that noggin. And then the final thing that I think is really important to point out here is that like what's that quote? I think is that Dan Kennedy who said this, that everyone is just walking around umbilical cord in hand looking for somewhere to plug it
in. Very wise words.
I think it was either Dan Kennedy or Gary Halbert. I think that was Dan Kennedy. Don't be that person. Don't be the person who is constantly looking for someone to save them, looking for that perfect guru who's going to, give you the right information or mentor you or, do something that you think is going to change your life. It's all up to you, man. It's all up to you. People like me and Scotty, we can give you content and information and things that are going to potentially fast track your journey, but we can't do the work for you. We're not gonna be there, with a cape on our backs, saving you from the depths of your life. It's up to you. It's up to you. So if you go through life like with that kind of a mindset, and you're just not, looking for somewhere to plug your fucking umbilical cord in, I think you'll be a bit better off than a lot of people. And yeah, use your intuition. Just don't be an idiot. Generally, I think that's probably pretty good advice.
Yes, sir, Schmitty. I believe we wrap it up there.
I think that'll do it, folks and folkettes. We hope you enjoyed this little special knowledge drop sponsored by the Scott Man, outlined by the Scott Man. Let us know what you thought. Let us know your ideas for future knowledge drop episodes. And as always, we'll talk to you guys next week.
Peace.